I really like these big logs on this 4500. I got a bunch of big logs coming up. I was gonna let you guys see them. The really wide chute is an absolute game changer for us. You can get around big knots and stuff so much easier than you could prior. Versus like a Super 70, which is what we're used to. You don't have to worry about clearing the knots off near as much. Like that one there, the Super 70, them knots I wouldn't be able to get around. Someone would have had to cut them off. I can get around every knot on here, which is crazy. We're running a 747 turbo blade. Look at how clean that thing cuts. Now I'm just pushing the pedal and letting it do its thing. It knows where to put the horsepower at. Like these huge logs like this, I mean, having that foot pedal to push down, I mean, literally, I just push this foot pedal down and it saws, it watches the horsepower here. So you can watch this horsepower. At the beginning, it'll start out at like 2, then it hits it, it starts ramping up hard, and then it'll run it to whatever horsepower you set it at. Now what's crazy is it's a 30 horse motor, but it'll run up to 65 horse at times. And you can see on there, it'll just sit there and saw this thing down as long as I hold that pedal. And I mean, it just makes clean, smooth cuts. If it senses a back pressure real hard, it'll up the horsepower or down it, depending on what it needs to speed up. And it really optimizes how fast it goes. You can see I've got my start log, end log. So on the 4500, you don't have like auto down, auto up. You push this button here at the beginning of the log and the end of the log, and then it automatically knows where to stop and go from every time. And you can see that there. It'll come out of the log, go back, and I've got my beginning of my log a little bit further than what I need it, but I can shorten that up. But you can just see, I mean, just smooth. Watch it come out of the end of the log. No jumping or anything. So nice. And then you just flip it over and put it in stack mode. And then it'll cut it all the way down. Same thing. So you can see here, I've got it in stack mode. Stack mode on the 4500 gives you your cuts down all the way, you know, to the bottom of the bed rail, and whatever you set these to. So you got your lube, your blow off, laser, conveyor, all that stuff on there. See it, 64 horse up there. So I mean, it's really neat how this thing works and functions. On the massive logs, I mean, this thing is just, I mean, it takes all the stress off the sawyer because he's not working those levers back and forth. I can put my arms on the armrest and just sit here and watch this thing go. And it just gets all the stuff off. Like I said, you know, when I was sawing yesterday, the, you know, short pieces and stuff, most of them go back. Now, one thing that I've noticed is that arm sometimes, the front arm, the one that I can raise and lower, I don't know if you can see it in the video or not, but that one, it'll catch some things at times. Love using this thing, and look at this American edition they sent me. You can USB charge it here, it's magnetic, so if you got a meal like this or anything, and then you've got a laser here, so I like pointing it at stuff for the guys to pick up, like if there's something on the blade or anything like that. It's just super handy. So look at this thing. We cut this ear off. I don't know if we'd had to, but this is a big old beech. We got another big one coming up. Big old beech. We're gonna whoop this one with ease. Thing's dry. Woo! Man, this 4500 makes light work out of these big logs. Wild looking grain in that thing. It's slowing down for me and doing the cutting. I'm not doing that. I'm letting it do it. Nowhere near as good on the hydraulics as I was on my Super. So wide I can't even get the clamp to go. Let's see. They can't edge that wide anyway, so we'll take it up. My clamp over here, let me get some of this off. And then I can clamp it. I'm doing it at an angle like that so my clamp can go in it and I'm not wasting the top of the log. Crazy how big and how wide this thing will cut. Makes me want a 5500 just so I can cut monstrous. I mean, this thing's already wider than our edger can handle. I'm gonna have to get a wider edger for these big old knuckle-headed ones. We've got some blades coming that we're going to do a shootout with. If you guys are interested or you have a 4500, tell me what your favorite blade is. I'd be very curious to hear what you run on your mills. That should get it far enough narrow wise that they can get that through the edger. I mean, we've got this thing whooped, but we'll saw it down so you can watch it. Like I said, this thing's really gray and dried out. The 45, I mean, it just eats this stuff. It loves it. Shift it back down this way. That's one thing I love about this. You can shift it. Can't do that with a Super 70 or any of the other ones. So it's really, really nice to have that. There we go. Now we got plenty of clearance and I can use that as my bring it in closer. watching the camera. You gotta watch on these big logs, you'll lock that electric motor up because it just set to the perimeter to take off. And like I said, I got mine set at about 48 feet per minute to start with. On these big dry logs, you really need to be around 40. But I wasn't going to change it for one. So you can see, I'm just letting it do its thing. Got my little pedal. See, I've got this set up for my transfer table that I'm gonna put in. So kick left, right, shoot everything forward. Here's how you pick your different cuts. So like next, if I want to cut a 2, I'd hit that. If I want to cut, you know, whatever, I can change all these to different ones. And then, you know, like I said, it's right now in reference mode. So it references from wherever I started at. It's kind of like auto down on a Super 70. You've got reference in there and it just references from the point you started at. Here's what some of the grain looks like in that. All right, look at this monster. The head's 30, almost 35 inches right now. So we're gonna see if we can get through this thing. That wide head is gonna make for a big difference. About as high as we can take the head. gonna make some monstrous boards. Go through one more time on this left side. Now one more thing. Try to get it down as narrow as possible before I spin it. It's got some big old knots on it. We couldn't have solved this on the Super 70. Look at that. Some of this back side off. I think that chute opens up to 34 or 30. It's 32 to 36 inches. And on a Super 70, it's like 24. And you can get the wide head and it's wider, but the capacity is still not as big as this 4500. I believe that's about as far down as I need to take inside. See if we can get it to spin now. About as wide as a cut as we can get. Look at that. My left guide block is like 1/4 of an inch from touching that. Had it going too fast. Back up and start it again. If you have your start of speed too high on this and you use the foot pedal like I was, when it gets in that wide position, it starts the feed ramp up too fast, so I've got to slow it down on these big ones. I just forget. Those are some wide boards. Thing's so tall. Might have to have him shooting the end around. Now that I got it shifted back. Goodness, that thing's big. we've got this big one whooped now. We got another big one coming up. I'll put it in here so you can see it. That's still about 16 inches wide right there.